There's a moment in everyone's life when you stop and ask, am I really living, or just existing? You wake up, scroll through your phone, rush through your day, and repeat. Day after day. The same thoughts, the same habits, the same quiet frustration. We convince ourselves that one day, something will change. One day, things will get better. But here's the truth, nothing changes until you do. The difference between who you are now and who you could become, is found in your daily habits. The small, invisible choices you make every single day, those are what shape your destiny. Epictetus once said, no great thing is created suddenly. The person you dream of being, the life you long to live, it won't appear overnight. It will be built, quietly, through daily acts of discipline, reflection, and courage. But I know what you might be thinking, I've tried to change before. I've built habits, I've broken them, and I've failed. You're not alone in that. Most people never rise above the weight of their own comfort. Because transformation doesn't happen when it's easy, it happens when you feel like giving up, but choose to move anyway. You see, your habits are not just actions, they are reflections of your identity. Every morning routine, every decision to stay consistent or to quit, tells your subconscious who you believe you are. If you constantly tell yourself, I'm lazy, you'll act like it. If you say, I'm not disciplined, your body will follow. But when you begin to say, I am becoming better. I am growing. I am learning. That's when your mind starts to rewrite the story of your life. And that's what this video is about. We're not just going to talk about habits, we're going to explore how to turn discipline into identity. How to stop forcing habits and start becoming the kind of person who naturally lives them. Because the truth is, success is not about motivation. Motivation fades. It's about consistency, the quiet, relentless decision to do the right thing when no one's watching. Now, if you watched my previous video, 10 daily self-improvement habits that will change your life forever, then you already know how powerful small consistent actions can be. But this video goes even deeper. We're going to take those foundational habits, the ones that improve your mindset, discipline, and peace, and expand them into life-changing daily practices that will completely shift how you live, think, and grow. If you haven't watched that one yet, I'll leave the link in the description. I highly recommend watching it after this, because these two videos are meant to work together. That one showed you what to do. This one will show you how to live it. Because here's the truth. Most people want to change their lives, but they never change their systems. They try to think their way into a better life instead of living their way into one. But you're different. You're watching this because something inside you knows you're meant for more. You're tired of just existing. You're ready to live with purpose, with structure, with clarity. So let me ask you this. What if your life could become a masterpiece of habits? What if every day brought you closer to peace, growth, and freedom, instead of anxiety and distraction? What if you could wake up, not feeling behind, but ahead, calm, focused, and powerful? It's not just possible. It's inevitable, when you live intentionally. So as you watch this video, I want you to do one thing. Don't just listen, apply. Pause, reflect, write things down. Because transformation doesn't happen by inspiration alone. It happens when knowledge meets action. From the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep, every thought, every choice, every routine can either drain your energy or fuel your evolution. And the reason so many people feel stuck isn't because they lack time or talent, it's because they're living on autopilot. Scrolling instead of learning. Reacting instead of creating. The modern world has mastered the art of distraction, and most people, unknowingly, are slaves to it. But not you. Not anymore. Because after this video, you'll understand how to take back control of your mind, your habits, and your destiny. The goal is not perfection, it's progress. 1% better every single day. That's the silent revolution of personal growth. Every decision to wake up early, to meditate, to read, to reflect, it's not just a habit. It's a declaration. I am in control of my life. And the beauty of it all. When you change your habits, you don't just change your life, you change your future. So, take a deep breath. Because what you're about to learn isn't just information, it's transformation. 10 daily habits that will completely shift your focus, your energy, and your purpose. 10 habits that will take you from reaction to creation. From chaos to clarity. From existing to truly living. You've already taken the first step by being here. Now, let's begin the journey of becoming your highest self, one habit at a time. You wake up one morning and realize, most of what you do, most of how you think, isn't really you. It's a collection of habits, routines, and stories you've been repeating long enough to believe they're part of your identity. But identity is not what we are, it's what we practice. Every day, in every small decision, you're shaping the person you'll become. And that's the essence of self-improvement, not a quick transformation, not a motivational rush, but a quiet rebellion against the version of you that no longer serves your growth. So let's talk about the habits that truly change lives. Not the surface level ones, but the deep, grounding rituals that make life mean something. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked, yet most powerful habits you could ever build. The habit of radical honesty. You see, most people lie, not necessarily to others, but to themselves. They tell themselves they're fine when they're not. They pretend they don't care when they do. They tell themselves they'll change tomorrow, when they know tomorrow will be just like today. But self-improvement begins where self-deception ends. Radical honesty means you stop hiding from your truth. It means you face your insecurities, your weaknesses, your fears, not to judge them, but to understand them. Because only when you understand your darkness can you begin to work with your light. Seneca once wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." When you're radically honest with yourself, you stop being afraid of that adversity. You stop blaming others. You stop running from discomfort. And something incredible happens, you start to feel real. Not perfect. Just real. Now, let's move to another habit that transforms from within. The habit of mental stillness. We live in a world that rewards noise. The busier you are, the more productive you seem. But most people are drowning in activity, thinking without clarity, acting without purpose. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And you can't master yourself if you're always reacting. Mental stillness doesn't mean escaping the world, it means seeing it clearly. It's that moment before you reply, before you judge, before you rush into another distraction. It's the pause that lets you act consciously, not compulsively. Try this, each morning, before the world wakes up, sit with your thoughts. No phone. No music. Just silence. You'll begin to notice something strange. At first, it's uncomfortable. Your mind will scream for stimulation. But over time, that silence becomes your greatest teacher. You'll begin to hear the patterns beneath your thoughts, the anxieties, the excuses, the stories that have shaped your days. And in that awareness, you find freedom. Because when your mind becomes still, your decisions become sharp. And when your decisions become sharp, your life begins to align. But none of these habits matter without one thing: consistency. Discipline is the bridge between potential and reality. Every person you admire, every successful or enlightened figure you've ever studied, has one common trait: they show up, even when they don't feel like it. The gym goer who works out when tired. The writer who writes through doubt. The thinker who still questions when everyone else stops caring. Discipline isn't punishment, it's love. It's saying, I care about myself enough to do what I said I would. And if you've been struggling with staying consistent, remind yourself, discipline doesn't have to feel dramatic. It's not built on motivation. It's built on repetition. A single act of discipline might seem small, but repeated over months, it becomes identity. And identity is everything. Now, somewhere between all these habits, radical honesty, stillness, discipline, you'll notice something shift. You begin to feel lighter. Not because life becomes easier, but because you become stronger. That's the secret of real change: it's internal, not external. By the way, if you haven't seen my video where I break down the 10 daily self-improvement habits that can transform your life, I'll leave the link in the description. I'll highly recommend you watch it, of course, after this one. In that video, I explored the foundation of daily discipline and mental clarity, the starting point of everything we're expanding on here. Alright. Let's talk about another life-changing habit. The habit of embracing discomfort. Most people avoid pain. They avoid cold, they avoid rejection, they avoid challenge. But comfort is the silent killer of greatness. It lulls you into complacency, whispering that you're fine as you are, when deep down, you know you're meant for more. Philosophers, Stoics, and warriors across centuries shared one truth: if you want peace, do not seek comfort, seek strength. Practice discomfort intentionally. Take cold showers. Have the hard conversation. Say no when it's easier to please. Wake up earlier than your comfort allows. Why? Because when you master discomfort, the world loses its power to control you. Suddenly, that difficult job, that breakup, that failure, it doesn't break you. You become unshakable. And that's where true calm begins, not in avoiding chaos, but in learning to stay centered within it. But remember, discomfort alone isn't the goal. Growth is. Pain is only meaningful when it leads to transformation. There's a habit that ties it all together, one most people overlook. Reflection. Every night, before you sleep, ask yourself, what did I do today that moved me closer to who I want to be? What did I do that pulled me away? Seneca practiced this nightly ritual. He believed that reflection sharpens wisdom. Because awareness without reflection fades into habit, and habit without reflection becomes a cage. So think back to your day. Be honest, not harsh. Notice what you did right. Notice what you could improve. Then promise yourself, tomorrow, you'll do just a little better. That's how change happens. Not in one grand moment of inspiration, but in the quiet, repetitive act of self-awareness. The truth is, transformation doesn't look like fireworks. It looks like discipline. It looks like silence. It looks like the unglamorous act of showing up every single day. Most people overestimate what they can change in a week, and underestimate what they can change in a year. But a year from now, you'll either be grateful you started, or regretful you didn't. The choice is always yours. And here's something you'll start to realize along the path of self-improvement. It's not really about improving yourself at all. It's about remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. When you strip away distractions, doubts, fears, and lies, you don't find a new self. You uncover your original one. The one that's been waiting quietly beneath it all. So yes, create better habits. Build discipline. Embrace discomfort. Reflect deeply. But most importantly, remember this. Self-improvement is not a destination. It's a practice. A daily return to the person you truly are. And that journey never ends. You see, the journey of self-improvement eventually leads you to a strange realization: you're not really trying to become something new, you're trying to remember something ancient. The part of you that once moved with purpose, spoke with honesty, and lived with quiet power. But the modern world distracts you from that truth. It feeds your mind endless noise, comparison, pressure, false urgency. It teaches you that your worth depends on productivity, on how much you achieve, how much you own, how many people applaud. Yet here's a secret that every philosopher eventually discovers. The good life has nothing to do with applause. It has everything to do with alignment. Let's talk about the next powerful habit that reshapes your entire perception of life. The habit of intentional solitude. Most people fear being alone because they mistake solitude for loneliness. But solitude isn't the absence of connection, it's the presence of clarity. It's where your thoughts breathe. It's where your intuition, drowned out by the world's noise, begins to speak again. Seneca once said, "Associate with people who are likely to improve you." But he also understood the balance, because sometimes, improvement means walking alone. Take time each week to be with yourself, no phone, no scrolling, no input. Go for a long walk. Sit under the sky. Just think. You'll notice something fascinating. At first, your mind will rebel. You'll feel restless, bored, maybe even anxious. But stay long enough, and that discomfort turns into insight. You start to hear your own mind again. That's when you realize how much of your life has been driven by external influence, what others think, what others expect, what others value. Solitude helps you reclaim authorship of your own story. And when you return from that solitude, you begin to interact with the world differently, less reactive, more deliberate. You speak with purpose. You choose what matters. That's how you start living, not just existing. But solitude alone isn't enough. You must also learn gratitude, not the shallow kind that posts daily affirmations online, but the kind that runs deep into your bones. Gratitude changes the way you see everything. The Stoics practiced a version of it daily, not by listing things they were thankful for, but by imagining life without them. Imagine waking up tomorrow and having only the things you truly appreciated today. What would remain? When you see life through that lens, gratitude stops being a list, it becomes a way of seeing. Suddenly, even ordinary moments feel extraordinary. A sunrise, a breath of air, a meal shared, a calm evening, they all carry the quiet beauty of existence. And you realize that happiness isn't something you chase, it's something you notice. That brings us to another transformative habit, the habit of self-respect. Most people talk about self-love, but few understand self-respect. Self-love is gentle, self-respect is firm. It's the voice that says, "I deserve better," and the discipline to act on it. Self-respect means keeping promises to yourself, even when no one is watching. It means setting boundaries not to push people away, but to protect your peace. It means refusing to shrink yourself to fit into small spaces or shallow relationships. Because if you keep breaking promises to yourself, you slowly lose trust in your own word. And once that trust is gone, it's hard to believe in anything. The path to self-respect is built on small acts, waking up on time, finishing what you start, saying no when something doesn't align. Each act may seem insignificant, but together, they build a foundation of integrity. And when you live with integrity, you stop seeking validation. You don't need others to approve your choices, you've already approved them yourself. That's freedom. But here's a truth few people want to accept: freedom requires sacrifice. The freedom to live well demands the death of laziness, of excuses, of endless distractions. You cannot carry them with you into the higher version of yourself. Think about it: every time you choose discipline over comfort, reflection over distraction, honesty over convenience, you're not losing anything. You're shedding what no longer serves you. And that's what transformation really is, not addition, but subtraction. Removing what's false so what's true can finally breathe. Let's pause here and connect this to something powerful. If you've seen my previous video, 10 daily self-improvement habits that will change your life forever, you already know that every lasting change begins with awareness. There, we explored the foundations, the small daily actions that rewire your mind and behavior. What we're doing here is the next level, the philosophy behind those actions. Because without philosophy, without a reason why, habits collapse. But when you understand the why, when your actions align with your values, they become unbreakable. So, let's go deeper. Another life-changing habit is what I call purposeful presence. It's the art of doing one thing at a time, fully. Sounds simple, doesn't it? But it's one of the hardest things in the modern world. We live distracted lives, checking phones while eating, scrolling while talking, thinking of tomorrow while standing in today. And yet, the greatest thinkers, from Aristotle to Marcus Aurelius, agreed on one thing: peace is found in the present moment. When you eat, just eat. When you work, just work. When you rest, truly rest. Presence is power. It brings intensity to life. It turns the mundane into meditation. And here's what's fascinating: when you practice presence long enough, you begin to notice the details of living again. The sound of rain. The warmth of sunlight. The rhythm of your breath. You realize that meaning doesn't hide in distant dreams, it lives here, in moments you've been overlooking. But presence requires letting go of control. And that's another habit, the habit of surrender. Now, surrender doesn't mean giving up. It means understanding the difference between what you can control and what you cannot. The Stoics built their entire philosophy on this. Control your thoughts, your actions, your attitude. But let go of outcomes, of opinions, of everything beyond your reach. When you stop fighting what's outside your control, your mind becomes lighter. And when your mind is lighter, your life becomes clearer. You begin to realize, peace is not something you pursue, it's what remains when you stop resisting reality. There's one final habit that ties all of this together. Contribution. Self-improvement isn't just about you, it's about what you give back. Once you start improving yourself, life stops being about survival and becomes about service. It could be something simple, helping a friend, mentoring someone, sharing wisdom, or creating something that uplifts others. Because contribution transforms growth from self-centered to soul-centered. It gives your journey depth, and your pain purpose. When you help others grow, you grow twice. And that's where fulfillment comes from, not what you get, but what you give. So remember these habits: solitude, gratitude, self-respect, presence, surrender, contribution. They're not rules, they're reminders. Reminders of what it means to live intentionally, consciously, fully. Life will always be uncertain, chaotic, unpredictable. But within that chaos, you can build something unshakable. A mind that is calm, a heart that is kind, a soul that is clear. And maybe that's the real goal of self-improvement, not to become perfect, but to become present. To live each day as if it were your first, and your last. To meet life with open eyes, and open hands. Because the person who learns to master the simple, daily habits, is the one who masters life itself. There comes a moment in every person's journey of self-improvement when they face the truth no one wants to hear. Your life will not change because of what you know. It will change because of what you do. We live in an age where information is infinite, yet transformation is rare. People collect advice like trophies but never act on it. They know the quotes, the principles, the theories, but they stay the same. Why? Because knowledge is comfortable. Action is not. The greatest difference between those who transform their lives and those who don't isn't intelligence, luck, or opportunity. It's courage. The courage to face yourself. The courage to begin again, even when no one is watching. If you want to change your life forever, start here. Stop waiting for motivation. Start building momentum. Motivation fades. Momentum compounds. One small disciplined action every day, done with intention, becomes unstoppable over time. You won't feel the progress immediately, growth is invisible at first. But one day, you'll look back and realize how far you've come. And here's something nobody tells you: becoming your best self will cost you your old one. You will lose friends. You will outgrow environments. You will change so much that people might accuse you of being different. That's okay. Because you are different. And that's the point. Change is not comfortable, and it's not supposed to be. The purpose of discomfort is transformation. Every painful decision, every quiet sacrifice, every lonely night spent working on yourself, it's all part of the rebirth. The question is, will you endure the process, or will you retreat to the comfort of who you used to be? Look at nature. Everything alive grows by letting go. A tree sheds its leaves. A snake sheds its skin. You, too, must shed the version of yourself that can no longer carry your purpose. That's the real meaning of self-improvement. It's not addition, it's purification. You're not becoming someone new. You're removing everything that isn't truly you. And when you strip away the noise, the fear, the doubt, you meet the real you. The one who doesn't need validation. The one who doesn't chase what's temporary. The one who moves with quiet confidence because they know who they are. But remember this, transformation is not a single event. It's a lifelong practice. You don't rise once, you rise daily. Through your choices, your habits, your attitude, your discipline. So every morning, ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be today? And then live like it. Not someday. Not when it's convenient. Today. Because that's how change actually happens, not in grand resolutions, but in quiet, consistent action. Wake up early even when you don't want to. Read something that challenges your thinking. Work on your goals for just an hour longer. Speak with kindness when it's easier to stay silent. Forgive when your ego wants to hold on. Those are not small things. They are the moments that rewrite your story. And when you commit to these daily acts, something beautiful begins to unfold. You start to feel peace, not because life gets easier, but because you've become stronger. You stop chasing what doesn't matter. You stop running from your emotions. You begin to live deliberately. That's when life stops feeling like survival and starts feeling like art. And here's where philosophy meets reality. All the wisdom of Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, it's not meant to stay on a page. It's meant to be lived. Because the Stoics didn't talk about happiness as pleasure, they saw it as harmony between your actions and your principles. So live with principles. Live with purpose. Live with patience. Because the habits you practice daily are not just shaping your routine, they're shaping your character. And character determines destiny. You cannot control what the world gives you, but you can control how you show up in it. That's power. That's freedom. And maybe, that's the real meaning of a good life, not endless success or comfort, but the strength to remain calm when everything around you is uncertain. By the way, if you haven't seen my video where I break down Marcus Aurelius' advice for when life feels unfair, I'll leave the link in the description. And in my other video on Epictetus, I shared how to stay calm in the middle of chaos. Both of those will give you an even deeper perspective on what we've uncovered here. I'll highly recommend you watch them, of course, after watching this video. Because the truth is, self-improvement isn't a destination, it's a philosophy. It's not about perfection, it's about alignment. And when your actions align with your values, peace follows naturally. So as we close, I want you to remember something simple. Every single day is a chance to begin again. You don't need a new year, a new month, or a new opportunity. You just need to decide, right now, that you're no longer postponing your potential. Let your growth be quiet. Let your success speak for itself. And never forget that the habits you build today are the seeds of the life you'll live tomorrow. So live intentionally. Think deeply. Act courageously. Because one day, you'll look back, not at what you owned, or how many people noticed you, but at who you became. And if you stayed true to your principles, your growth will speak for itself. Thank you for watching this video. If you found something valuable here, please like, share, and comment your thoughts below. It helps more than you think. And if this is your first time here, don't forget to subscribe to The Thinking Path for more videos like this. Your support means the world, and it helps keep these lessons alive for everyone searching for meaning. Click the next video showing on screen right now and keep growing. See you in the next one.